All right, guys. So we're just going to be diving into a random abstract thing that I'm going to be creating today. I just saw this new add-on that I didn't even notice I had in extra geometry. It's called Wall Builder. So if you go to Add Mesh, it should be, where is it? Extras, Wall Factory. I'm sorry, Wall Factory. So let me just move this out of the way so I can show you guys like what it does. If you go to, yep, Add Mesh, Extras, Wall Factory, you can like create this insane looking wall. Here, hold on, let me just show you. You can adjust all of these different settings, where it starts, where it ends. I didn't even know this existed until today. And then I had this random idea for a really cool render. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just kind of generate a couple of these, maybe one without the arc. So I'm gonna go ahead and check off opening, and I think I'm just gonna make this like completely random. And make a really cool like sci-fi kind of scene. So again, didn't even know this existed to begin with, but this is really cool. There's all these different things you can adjust here. I'm not going to really go through them all. I'm just going to kind of mess around with this and see kind of like what we can come up with. All right, I think that's good for the second wall. I'm going to go ahead and rotate this 90 degrees, and I'm just going to kind of start building out a scene that I think looks cool. I'm going to rotate that. I'm going to probably add a character into this scene as well. And I'm going to add some terrain and stuff like that. So let me just go ahead and save this real quick as abstract sci-fi. And I can already tell like where I'm probably going to go with this. Let me just set up my camera shot as well, because I can already tell, again, like I said, guys, that this is going to be a really interesting scene here. I'm hoping to just make it, you know, this type of angle. I want a character coming in through this door, and I want to also just create some really cool objects in here. Again, we have so many add-ons. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's so much we can do with just what I've done so far. I'm even thinking I can add another wall in here and make it the floor. So I'm going to go ahead and add a mesh extra wall factory, and then I'm just going to give this a crazy amount of like little segments and stuff in here. Let's see, variants. Oh my god, there's so many things you can do. Let me also make it bigger so that we have more to work with here. Cool. And this is going to end up being the ground. Let me go ahead and you can adjust the thickness of everything. You can adjust the variance. There's literally so many things you can adjust. I think something like that looks pretty good. And then I just want to make sure, where's the minimum? I just want to make sure these are a little bit closer together. Hold on. Depth. There's so many, oh my god, there's so many things you can adjust. It's like almost overwhelming the amount of options they give you. Where is groove? There's like a groove. Oh, here it is, edging. Yep. Okay. Bottom and top. That looks good. Again, I'm trying to figure out how this is going to end up looking. Look at the amount of things we can do here. I think that looks pretty cool there. That's it. Boom. All right, so we're going to go with that. And we're going to rotate it both ways, and then I'm going to go to my top-down view, and we're going to use this as kind of like our floor here. So again, I have no idea like what I'm making. I just know that I'm really excited I'm making it. I'm thinking we'll have a staircase that comes up to this like abstract looking thing. I'm also going to click on random so we can kind of see what we're actually building here. And I think I'm going to add a couple more of these little floors in here. Extras, wall factory. Again, I'm going to just kind of make this smaller here. Let's do that, and let's go ahead and adjust the variance and the thickness. That should be perfect. Let me just adjust the width. Start and end, bottom, top. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out how all these things work here. Where's left and right? All right, that's fine. We'll work with that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and confirm that. I'm going to go to my side view here. I'm just going to bring this down, scale it a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and bring it back on the Y. And I'm going to kind of build stairs out of this. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to start by rotating it 90 degrees, bringing it up and over. And then I'm going to go ahead and scale it on the Y. Oops. I'm going to first set the origin to geometry and scale it on the Y. I'm going to bring it right here. And then I'm going to just duplicate it, bring it down like this, and then I'm going to completely rotate it around on the Z so it's flipped, and I'm going to do that each time just because I want to have that variance. Cool. So we're just kind of creating these steps here just for fun. Again, I'm trying to think about what we can do with this scene, and I have no idea what this is going to end up looking like. I just have like some ideas as to like what this could be. So far, I'm pretty happy with like the actual scene setup. We have kind of like a staircase leading up to this entrance of this thing that we don't know what this is, but we do know that it's kind of sci-fi, sort of. All right, and then maybe we can kind of cap it off with the ceiling here. Again, I don't want to cut too much into this geometry at all, but I'm not sure. I'm not really sure like what this is going to look like or how it's going to look. And I'm thinking we have like a light source in here, and our character is kind of like heading into this little area. So let's go ahead and head into rendered view, and let's just start like setting up some basic lighting. I'm going to go to my GPU. We're in cycles here, environment texture, and I think I'm going to throw in this environment texture right here, which is kind of like a mountainous kind of like landscape type of thing. And already we have some, this is just looking really cool just in general because we have some basic lighting on our scene. And I think I'm going to use some procedural materials from Ducky 3D, which I will link in the description below for this YouTube video. But this already just looks so cool. I want to also find a landscape from Blender Kit, just a random like landscape scene here. If Blender Kit wants to work for me, there we go. And I'm just going to find something that has like some fun looking terrain. Oh, this is perfect for this scene. Okay, this is exactly what I was looking for actually. So this little object here is like a nice little piece of rock that we're going to duplicate, and we're actually going to put this, it's already in its own collection. I'm just going to quickly show you guys how to make a collection instance. If you go to add, you can, under add, there's going to be something at the bottom called collection instance. You're going to want to go under that, and they're going to want to find this mossy collection, and just like that, we have a collection instance. So now we can continue to duplicate this without having to worry about it like slowing Blender down. Now one of the things I'm going to do is scale these up, and then I'm going to kind of bring them, let's see, over here probably, and start like planning out our scene here. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to use these for like the sides of our little like area here, because one of my plans, I'm going to just hide this original one. One of my plans was to take this, rotate it, and possibly have this like kind of be like the sides of our steps, like so it's alternating on both sides. I just don't know if it'll work properly or if it'll look bad for the scene, but you know, we can kind of experiment with that as we go. Again, I'm kind of just rotating things around, positioning them. Let me snap back to my camera here as well. I think now that I'm thinking about it, my camera is going to have to be way far backed up beyond this thing. Maybe like there. Yeah, there we go. And I think we'll probably be at more of a downward view like this. Something like that might work. And then I'm thinking in the background I might have some kind of actual terrain, like this could be interesting here. And I'm going to adjust the lighting as we go, of course, too. All right, let's try this one. So this is obviously going to have to be scaled up, but I'm thinking we throw this in the background somewhere. Massively scaled up. There we go. Again, we're going to move this way far behind in the background. And we're going to move it along the X as well. And then for our camera, we're going to want to make sure it doesn't get clipped. There we go. So we're going to just move this in the background here. That already looks really awesome. And then go ahead and take the camera and make sure we're just narrowed in on our scene here so we don't get a false impression of like what is going to be in the background here. Again, we haven't really started adding anything in terms of the actual landscape, but let's just go ahead and see what they have. This might work. Again, I'm kind of just piecing things together with stuff I'm grabbing online right now. But there is a generator for Blender. There's an add-on built into Blender where you can actually add your own like mountains and stuff like that. But I'm just kind of having fun with this right now. All right, we'll come back to some of this stuff later. I'm also thinking we'll do like a particle generator for the grass and stuff if we do have a lot of like landscape things going on here. Let me just scale this up. Cool. All right, let's actually start like piecing this thing together. So one of the things I'm going to really quickly do is add in a plane, bring it over here, scale it up. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees. And I'm going to bring it up like that. And I want there to be like a really, really strong emissive light source right here. Like right here. Perfect. Okay. That looks good. So I'm going to make this like a really strong emissive light source. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I think it's going to add a lot to our scene. So I have this right here selected. New shader, and I'll just do emission, and we'll do like a value of like 20. And then I just want to go to my rendered view. Perfect, it's working. So already we have this really, really cool effect in here. Now I think I might actually make this like slightly blue. Again, we're going to come back to this, and we haven't even added any materials yet, but I already love kind of like the way this is looking. I'm also going to take I'm probably going to add something under some of our objects here, because I don't want light to peek through too much. But here, let's go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to, all right, that works perfectly. I'm trying to piece everything together properly. Awesome, GY, perfect. And again, I'm going to probably tuck this inside of here so that it's not peeking through. Cool. But again, make sure that it's still filling up the whole space, because that's kind of the goal here. And when we start to add materials, I think this is going to look really, really sick, so I'm excited. I'm also looking at all these stairs, and I'm thinking, you know what, let's just scale them on the X, stretch them out like that, kind of fill up our scene a little bit more. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and start dropping some actual like materials into this thing, and let's also enable like depth of field on our camera. Go ahead and select this wall, and we'll just do like something crazy like that. Looks pretty good. All right, so far so good. We're also going to end up adding a character into our scene too, and I'm also definitely going to adjust this lighting. Actually, let's just adjust the lighting real quick. Go to shading, world, and then we're going to head over to we're going to get mapping in here, and a texture coordinate, and we're just going to plug everything in like this, and I'm going to adjust the Z value. So now the Z value, as you can see, the lighting is dramatically changing. Already I kind of like this. I kind of like this slight like sunset view almost. We can even do like a slight, ooh, that might be good. Like light, I want the light to peek through from one side or the other. I think I kind of like this, because you kind of have the light slightly on the rim here, and that doesn't look terrible. And then this light really peeks through here. This looks really good already. All right, so let's actually start adding some materials onto this like crazy tech looking thing. So I'm going to go ahead and head over to my real-time materials pack by Ducky 3D. Thank you, Ducky. Guys, this will be in the description below, and I already knew when I started doing this that these specific shaders right here were the ones that I was going to be kind of looking into. So I'm going to go ahead and select a few different ones of these. Got some rocky textures as well. Let's see. I think I'm going to grab a few metal ones. Copper maybe. This tech one is pretty cool. Cool. That should be enough. I'm going to go ahead and just copy those over into my other project. Now, yes, there is a way to get these in an easier way, not having to copy them, but I'm just not going to be getting into that today. I'm just going to put them in their own collection and hide them. Awesome. Let me just hide this collection. Perfect. And let's go into rendered view, snap to our camera, and then I'm going to go ahead and go back to my layout, and I'm going to start like kind of adding in some materials here. So for this first one here, let's try block. So these materials are really, really fun to mess with, and they're completely customizable. Let me also apply this scale here. Cool. Instead of blocks, let's try flat tech. Okay, cool. So this is kind of the material I was hoping to go for. And then, of course, we can adjust the scale of everything, which is fantastic. So I'm going to actually just select all these, and I'm going to make them that same material. Control L to copy those materials over, and I missed a few. That's okay. We'll just get those in there. Perfect. And then I think for this floor, I might do the same. And I'm going to go ahead and snap back to the camera view. This is already looking really, really cool. All right, now for this material, this is more of like a wall kind of brick texture. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for these. Again, I kind of love the metal look to some of this stuff. So let's see, metal green. Oh, that one's nice. Again, this is kind of just like a fun little tech like scene. So let's see what else they have. Metal blocks, yep, that one's cool too. This one's kind of nice because it's got like some texture to it if you zoom in here. Let's go ahead and see. Yeah, and we can adjust the scale of everything. This is fantastic. Cool. All right, and we can adjust the color as well. Darker color kind of is suiting for this. Hold on. Just want to see what this will look like. Now, this is really basic right now, but I'm starting to love the way this scene looks, especially with that emissive, oh my gosh, that emissive background just looks fantastic, excuse me. Hold on, let me just adjust this little, whatever this moss thing is called. Cool, awesome. All right, depth of field could probably be improved a little bit, but already we have a really interesting scene here. I'm going to turn off my floor overlay, my XY axes, and my 3D cursor, because it's just much easier to see like how the scene is actually going to kind of come out here. It's already looking really cool, and there's a lot that I'm going to add to this. I love this kind of arch kind of thing that's going on here, so I'm going to go back to solid view, add in a mesh, and I'm going to do extras. And then I'm going to do wall factory. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add something for like the top and the side. So right here under openings, you have top arc and then you have bottom arc. Now what's cool is we can actually adjust the width of this and we can adjust the curvature of everything. So we can, let's see, for this curve, we'll do that. For this bottom curve, we'll do that. And then I believe, oopsies, sorry about that, guys. I believe there is, oh, there's a repeat function. Ooh, look at that. Hold on. Where is the indent? My gosh, look how cool this is. This is what I was looking for, a circle. All right, I'm going to take off repeat, but I was looking more for a circular kind of shape here. This is perfect. And I want that to be in the center. And then again, I'm going to adjust the width and the height. Whoa, you can even adjust the bevel. Oh, that's cool. I kind of like that. Very awesome. Okay. And again, we can adjust the width of our blocks and the variance and the height of those as well. Now, how cool is that? Whoa. What in the world? That is so cool. Oh, maybe we will go with something like that. All right, let's just confirm that real quick and turn this thing around. That actually is kind of neat. I kind of like it. Let me move it along the X and scale it down. Let me go to my top-down view here. Trying to position this in our scene in a way that kind of makes sense. And you already know I'm about to apply an array modifier to this and a mirror modifier. So let me just quickly do that. I'm going to do an array modifier here. Oops, array. And I'll just kind of squeeze that in so they're touching. All right, and then I'm going to do a mirror modifier. And I'm going to make that mirror on the x-axis. I'm going to use this as my pivot point. It's actually cutting in, so I might have to use like an empty or something. Actually, let's see if we can use this. What in the world? All right, we're going to use an empty. So I'm just going to add in an empty, plane axis, move it like right here. Scale it up so I can kind of see it, and then I'm going to click on this and I'm going to target my empty. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on my empty and bring this over. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, cool. All right, that looks good. All right, let's go ahead and see what this looks like right now. Cool. And then I'm going to copy this material. And it kind of looks interesting. I don't know if I am in love with it, but let me go ahead and mess around with the actual curvature of this. It's interesting to see how this is going to turn out, though. So I'm going to mess around with some different materials as well. See, it's interesting how you can kind of build a scene out like this, but I'm not in love with this look. I was hoping for something a little bit different. Let's go ahead and kind of want to see if I can actually add a simple deform to this. Whoa. My mistake, not that. Let's try Y, Z, bend maybe. Oh, there we go. Whoa, that's kind of cool, actually. See, it's funny, you kind of mess around with things and you're like, whoa, that actually is kind of interesting. And it makes you wonder if we now kind of bring these in a little bit more, what this could look like. And maybe scale them down, make them a little bit less significant than the rest of the scene. All right. Again, I'm going to bring them forward a little bit. Interesting. Definitely creates kind of an interesting abstract feel. Yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add in another type of kind of glow to this. So I'm going to just add in a simple floor plane. Where is our floor plane here? Oops. Add mesh plane. All right, cool. It's not letting me add the plane. I'm just going to go to this top collection. There it is. Okay, sorry guys. For some reason, it wasn't letting me add the plane. Every now and then, Blender can be a little bit funky. I'm going to scale it up on the X. Bring it like right here. Just make it really thin, right? And then I'm going to bring it kind of like below everything right here. And I'm going to bring it over on the X, bring it down. And it's kind of like inside of this loop here. You can kind of see it's like inside of our loop. And that's exactly what I want. And then I just want to give it that emissive shader, which is somewhere around here. I'm just going to copy it from the back wall there. So I have that selected. Just go ahead and copy that material. And I'm trying to create this lighting effect kind of like within this little thing here, whatever this is. I'm just going to bring this down and scale it on the Y a little bit. And that looks really cool. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like in rendered. Cool. And we can even create a different kind of lighting effect. And when we bring this down on the Z, bring it back on the Y, you'll notice how it completely changes the dynamic here. So this is really interesting. Or we could even have it like cut through like this with an array. And just kind of see what that could look like. And we'll just do an array on the Z. And I can't see my array. Why? Oh, I think because I might have rotated it. That's weird. All right, for some reason, my array doesn't want to work. But I'm going to actually rotate this on the X 90. I'm going to scale it down like this. Just bring it right in here like that. Give it a couple of counts there. And then I'm going to bring it back on the X and the Y. And let's just see what that looks like. Again, we're kind of just messing around here with different ideas. But it's fun to do because I just love experimenting with these things. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and bring these kind of in the middle here. And then bring them over on the X. So to almost connect them. Again, I'm kind of trying to create this thin look here. That looks good. And that's kind of fun. I think I kind of like that. I might even just do 3 and bring this up. Yeah, I think 3 is like pretty much perfect. And then let's just add a mirror modifier. Yeah, let's add a mirror modifier on the X and we'll select, where's our empty at? Well, let's select this. Actually, that's fine. You can't even tell it's behind that. That's perfect. Cool. So now we kind of have this interesting like vibe on both sides where we have these like lines coming in. And yes, guys, just so you know, this is not a completed product. We are still working on this, obviously. I just am kind of having fun with this here. Now, I'm noticing that right below this, we don't really need the rest of these, so I'm going to actually delete these. And I think I'm going to space out some of these a little bit more. All right, let's go ahead and delete this one. And let's space this one out on the Y. Actually scale it out, sorry, on the Y. And bring it a little bit more this way. Let's bring this one up. Perfect. I like that a lot more because now we have like some space down here where our character can actually like move around. And I'm starting to really enjoy the way this is turning out. I kind of want there to be some floating objects in here, so we'll add those in a bit. But I also want there to be like variation between... I almost want there to be like statues, but I want there to be like variation between these different things here as well. So I'm going to scale this on the Y a little bit. Okay, that looks good. Maybe even scale it on the Z. Cool. It looks a little bit less like steps, but I kind of like I kind of like the way it looks, like more blocky, like more like these blocks are just kind of massive. So, all right, let's go ahead and see about moving the background a little bit. That looks good. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else we can start adding to the scene. I guess we're going to need a character very soon, but I want to add some random shapes in the background. So let's go ahead and take a look at what extra stuff we have. Oh, we have a step pyramid. Oh, we can add a honeycomb. Oh my god, I spent all that time making that honeycomb and we can just add it. What's beam builder? Let's see what that is. All right. There is the beam. Hold on. Height. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Whoa. I kind of like that. Oh, we could totally use this for our render. All right, let's use that. That's perfect. We can 100% use this for our render. All right, I'm going to start by putting this in the background here, like back here. And I'm just going to make this incredible array here. Other way. Just like that. And then you guessed it, a mirror modifier. And for the mirror, we'll choose this. All right, perfect. And let's go ahead and see what that looks like in rendered view. Now for these things, I'm thinking we'll do, I don't know, some kind of, ooh, let's scale these on the Y actually. Sorry guys, scale them on the Y, move them back. Yeah, ooh, now we're cooking here, guys. I just want these things to kind of overshadow this kind of sci-fi thing here. Let's try to see what kind of material we can make these. Whoa, that's not going to work. But that does look cool. That's like a brushed gold, but I think going more for like a cracked metal look, that looks good. Again, this is the real-time materials pack by Ducky 3D. Thank you, Ducky. Shout out to him. And I'm just going to kind of make that 0.2. Okay, that looks good. And then the roughness, turn that up a little bit as well. This already looks so cool. Maybe bring these down a little bit. Cool. All right. And then I'm going to take my camera, and I think I'm going to make this an 85mm, but then I'm also going to like back it way, way, way up with our scene here. Like something like this. Let's try a 90-degree angle. Cool. And then we're going to scale these out on the X. And then this one, we're going to scale this out on the Y. And we're going to apply that scale. Cool. So now we kind of have this crazy looking view. I also want to space these out more. I don't like that there's so many of them. I'm going to space them out more. And then I'm also going to go back to this view here, and I'm going to space this out more. Again, I'm kind of just setting up the scene as much as I possibly can here. I don't want there to be like too many gaps. Like right now there's even like too many gaps in this. So I'm going to fill those gaps by doing this. Perfect. These look like pieces of pineapple or something, but that's fine. I kind of want to hide these for a second. I don't know if I'm in love with them. I don't know if that hurt or helped the whole thing. This also needs to go for a second. This thing is so cool looking though. I love the way this is like coming out. Okay. What else can we start adding here? You know what I'm going to add, guys? I'm going to add some random blocks in here. Let's go ahead and take some cubes, scale them up, and let's add some random cubes here. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put all these cubes into a, sorry guys for the dizziness there. All right, I'm going to take a bunch of these cubes here, and I'm just going to kind of scatter them like that. And then I'm going to duplicate them like this. Select all of them. Put them in a random group. I'm going to call that random. And then I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and do scale. Bring them up. And I'm going to duplicate them one more time. And then I'm going to highlight all of them. Okay. And I'm going to go to Object, Transform, and I'm going to do Randomize Transform. And check this out. We're going to go ahead and randomize the location on the Y, the Z, the rotation. Honestly, rotation maybe not. We'll do rotation on the Z. And we can just randomly rotate and randomize all of these things. Cool. Just spread those out like that. That's like kind of perfect. And then I'm going to go to my top-down view and just kind of move them within our scene here. We're going to find something that looks pretty good. We don't want them to cover the scene too much because we don't want to... I'm going to rotate them like this so we can still see within our scene. Perfect. Something like that might work. Cool. All right, let's see what that looks like. Again, just trying to add some like variation in here. Okay, cool. Those look good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select all of those objects and give them this shader as well. And then I'm going to also select objects and apply the scale to them as well. Cool. And as you guys can see, we're starting to kind of like build out this scene here. It's looking cool, although there's some other things I think I'm going to want to do. One of the things I want to do is I want to take this object here, tab into edit mode, go to my side view here, and it's going to be kind of hard to see, but I'm going to select the back vertices here, and I'm just going to bring them down like that to give us like kind of like this weird like almost like cathedral kind of look where they're kind of like coming up in like more of a triangular formation. And then I want to make them kind of taller for scale. And I think I might even add some light sources within those as well. I just realized that this light source here, these like lines are not really doing much anymore. So I'm going to rotate them on 90 degrees on the x-axis and bring them down. And hopefully, yep, now they can light the inside of those little like things right there. This is starting to look really, really interesting though. I'm definitely happy with this. All right, here's what I'm going to do next. I am going to fill in these gaps right here behind this. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add in a plane. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees on the x-axis. I'm going to go to my front view here. I'm going to scale it up so it's like covering all of this. And then I'm going to actually bring it behind this, like maybe like right there. Scale it up some more. Bring it down. And I'm going to give it this one shader that I brought in that has like this kind of speckled rock look. Let's see if we can find it on here. I believe it's this one. Is it noisy wireframe? I think that's it. Let me just double check to make sure this is the correct shader. It is. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to subdivide this a couple more times. This is looking really cool. And I think it just adds like a nice dynamic to our area here. This is cool. Just want to see what this looks like in rendered view. Okay, I changed my mind. I don't like it, so I'm going to go back to something different. I do wonder what this would look like if it was a glow. If it was this glow. Hold on. It might be too overwhelming. Yeah, it's way too overwhelming. Okay, so we're not going to do that. But what I could do, ooh, how about this wireframe modifier? Boom. So I'm going to actually subdivide this again. And I'm going to use the wireframe modifier, make a very thin wireframe here. And I'm just going to set that behind the wall. Now it kind of looks a little bit more techy. And I'm also going to go to my solid view here. And I'm going to put this like in the middle of the wall. Like so. And I'm going to give this a, what is it called? Mirror modifier. Sorry, guys. I'm getting mixed up with my words here. Okay, let's give it a mirror modifier. And we'll choose let's try to choose this empty here. All right, so that empty is not going to work. So instead, I think I'm just going to Alt-D to duplicate this. I don't know if that just worked or not. It did not, so I'm just going to Shift-D. That's fine. And I'll put it on this side. Now, I just noticed these two sides are actually not equal. I don't know how I didn't notice that going into this, but that's okay. All good. Cool. Now, this kind of hangs off to the side here, so I'm going to delete the parts I don't need, which are like right here. That didn't work. Oh, I have to apply this. Hold on. There we go. Cool. I think we are good to go. All right, let's go ahead and check that out in rendered view. Very cool. Okay, you can't even really tell this side that it has that like wireframe looking thing, but again, um, man, that stinks because I actually thought that was gonna look cool, but it does look cool on this side. Okay, cool. So let's actually also make that go around the arc as well. I'm gonna just take this one right here, duplicate it, scale it down, and I think I'm gonna give this a simple deform. And I'm going to see if I can just stretch it this way. And that is not going to work, but that is okay. Instead, I think I'm going to use proportional editing. Highlight these. Oops. Highlight these. That's not going to work. Okay, maybe let me think about this. Hold on. I honestly thought the simple deform would work fine. Whoa. Oh, that's interesting. Not what I want, but that's interesting. Oh, here's what we're going to do. We're going to apply this, rotate this like that, scale this up. I kind of want to see what this looks like in rendered view. This is ridiculous. That looks sick, but that's not what we want. But you know what, guys? Now that I think about it, would it be cool to kind of have this warp inwards, like, hold on, like have it warp. I don't even know if I'm able to do this with the simple deform. Whoa, that's kind of what I wanted to do, but not exactly. Hold on, Z, Y. Man, this modifier, it really is a pain, but it looks cool. All right, that is not going to work. All right, I take it back. I don't want to do what I was going to do there. But we do need a character for our scene. So without further delaying that, let's actually get into like building a character. But real quick, I want to take these blocks and make them this material instead. Yeah, that looks cool. Again, we have the sun kind of hitting these. And I'm realizing now that we would probably have a mountain on this side too. So I'm just going to duplicate this. And I think I'm going to rotate it, or I'm going to flip it on the X global. So I'm going to do mirror X global. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then GX, and then I'm just going to match it up in the middle there. Perfect. Yeah, and I think that should take care of some of our shadows. Yeah, I think it made it a little bit more subtle. Cool. All right, this is looking really, really cool. All right, let's go ahead and, you know what's funny? I also have to shade those smooth. The background doesn't look too hot right now. This is so sick though. I'm really enjoying like this process in general. I think I'm gonna have to add a character in here, guys. So let's go ahead and just type in character into our Blender kit. I'm hoping we can find a cool one. Let's see. That's cool. You know, we might be able to go to Mixamo. Mixamo is fantastic for this kind of stuff, so I might just go on there and get something from there instead. Yeah, let's do that. All right, let's go to Mixamo. Mixamo.com. Cool. All right, and let's go ahead and log in here. I'm just going to continue with this account. That's fine. Alrighty, so we have a character here. This might even be the perfect character. Let me just find a cool pose and we should be good to go. How about floating? That's cool. There's so many of these. Oh my god, this one's crazy. What in the world? Maybe we don't have her doing that. Maybe this one's kind of cool. Kind of like she's jumping into the portal. Yeah, let's try that one. All right, let's just download this. Download with skin, 30 frames a second. Now, it's not moving, so the FPS doesn't matter, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. Alrighty, it should be downloaded. We are good to go. It's going to be called Male Dynamic Pose, even though this is a female, but that's fine. Let's go into Solid View. Let's go ahead and click on File, Import FBX, and go to My Downloads. Go ahead and click on our person, and there is our person right there. So now I'm going to go ahead and move our person up here. I'm going to scale her a lot. I think that's good. I think that's a good scale. And I'm going to rotate her around like that. Let's go ahead and see how she's looking right now. Pretty cool. All right, so far we have a really interesting render. I don't know if I'm loving the loving the placement, if she should be bigger or smaller, because I'm not really sure how big this archway is like supposed to be, but this definitely looks super cool already. And then when you zoom in, you can kind of see like the area around her kind of being lit up. So I might even take her. Where is she? I have to find her. She's like controlled by an empty or something. Where is she? Oh, here she is. Okay, so I'm gonna take her. Maybe rotate her a little bit. Bring her like right there. Maybe have her leaping a little bit more. Maybe bring her back into the scene just a little bit more. She's like barely kind of going into this entrance here. It's kind of interesting because I don't know if like I'm in love with this or if I'm not sure how I feel about it. And then her cape here, what material is that? It's kind of hard to tell. That does look cool. See, this angle looks even more interesting. I almost wonder if this in itself should be a grid and not just a white light. I'm just gonna subdivide it a couple times and then I'm gonna make it a wireframe modifier. I'm just curious what this could do for the render. If it could hurt it or help it. Object, apply, scale to, yeah, okay. Alright, cool. So that's interesting. I don't know if I love it. Let's increase the thickness of the wireframe as well. Whoa, what happened to this? No, I don't want that to be that material. Hold on. Okay, I just noticed, guys, that these materials got undone somehow. Interesting. I don't think I love the matrix piece behind this, so I think I might actually just might increase the wireframe a little bit. There's a lot to think about here when it comes to like how you actually want this to end up looking. I do like it. You know what? You know what's one thing I think I might change about this whole entire little like area here? I might add in a let's see, a plane. Bring it over here. Bring it kind of close to these little triangle things here. And then I'm going to rotate them 90 degrees, kind of bring them to the center. And then I want to create like the slightest little like rim light around these. Just the slightest little glow. So I'm just going to add a wireframe modifier to this. Increase that thickness. Something like that. Object, apply, scale. Cool. Something like this. Yeah, that's like perfect. Again, I'm kind of trying to match this up the best that I can. And I'm going to give that that glowing shader. Cool. All right, and I'm going to also give this like an array modifier. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so array, and we'll go the other way here. Perfect. And we'll do a mirror modifier. And we will copy this over with the empty, I think. Let's try the empty. So close. Hold on, wait. I think maybe it was this one. Nope. Okay. I wish you could do an offset. That would be fantastic if you could do an offset. They need to add, they need to add that in though. All right. It was so close, man. It was so close. It's fine because this is a lightweight thing, so I'm just gonna copy it over. Oh my gosh, this is such a pain. Hold on. There we go. Sorry guys, I'm trying to line this up as best as I can for the render. Alright, let's see what that looks like. Cool. That definitely adds something to our scene. I know it might not look like much, but I definitely think that looks awesome. I'm also just not in love with these like pillars here. So I think I might adjust those as well. It might just be the material. I might just not be in love with the material. Also, this piece, I just realized I never really did anything with this. We don't really need to, but I'd realized I never did anything with this at all. I don't know if Ducky 3D has a material that is like a mossy material, but I'm thinking something above this might make sense too. Now that I look at it, maybe we add these as well. Here, hold on. Let's add this here. And we'll take off the mirroring for a second. Okay. Just trying to kind of plan out the scene here, figure out what we can do. Alright. Let's duplicate these like wire looking things again. And scale them up. Perfect. And bring them over on the Y. Fantastic. Perfect. All right, let's check that out. Cool. All right, this is really starting to come together. I have no idea where this is going. I'm just kind of messing with it. But yeah, she is jumping into some kind of portal. Again, I might just make this have no wireframe and just be like solid, sharp white. Or like it's almost like it's like a blue light, but it still looks really cool. All right, let's also bring this thing down here. The lighting looks good, but it's not perfect. And I do think these mountains could be pushed back on the Y even more. Let's see. Whoa. Cool. That looks cool. Okay. I'm pretty happy with it so far. Again, I think there could be more to it. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to add a cube and mess around with the wireframe modifier. Where is the cube? There it is. Oh, how did you get here? What the? Okay, we're going to go ahead and delete you, mister. I don't know how that guy got here. Anyway, we're going to take this cube and we're going to make some random cubes floating above our other cubes. Like small wireframe looking things. So we're going to go to wireframe like this. We're going to increase that thickness, go to my top-down view, maybe just give it a little bit of random rotation, and then I'm going to go to rendered view, and I am going to give this a emission shader, if I can find it. Or you know what, I'm just going to copy this shader here. Perfect. So this is going to kind of sit above this surface here. Now I think it would look cool if these all, okay, I guess you can't see this one, but if most of these had a little cube sitting just above the surface. Yeah, something like that would be kind of cool and fun. I feel like, but let's just go ahead and see. I'll put a couple around the scene. You know what I like to do is sometimes I like to go to my animation tab and you can kind of see in here where these objects are actually sitting. And then go to random on both. And now you can kind of see on the left-hand side where our objects are like actually sitting here. So I'm going to take my wireframe thing here. I am going to go to my top-down view, and I'm just going to duplicate it, rotate, duplicate, rotate, just a couple of different times here. And again, just double checking to see like where this thing is actually sitting in 3D space. And it's a lot easier to see. Now that I see it on my screen, like I can see if it's at the correct height or not, which most of these are not at all. So I'm going to go ahead and drop those down like that. I'm going to go ahead and just position this one further down. Again, this is just kind of like a fun way to just add a little bit more to your scene. And this one, of course, right here. And this guy, you can't even really see that one. Cool. Awesome. Let's go back to our layout tab, rendered view, snap to the camera, and let's just see what that looks like. Okay, that's interesting. I do think these should all have some random rotation. So let's go ahead and select them all. Oops, no, that's not what I wanted to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool. Object, transform, and then we're going to do random transform, and I'm just going to give these all some slight random rotations. Perfect. And why did they all just snap? Actually, I don't want the locations to be different. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Cool. Now they all have random rotations. So they should all look random now. Perfect. That is exactly what I wanted. And I definitely want one up here on top of this cube looking thing as well. Perfect. Make sure none are missing. This is looking awesome. Bring this one in the background up a little bit. Cool. This is starting to look really, really fun. Again, a lot of this is experimenting and just having fun with the scene, but I am just kind of having a good time just messing with this in general. Now, the top here, I'm wondering what else we can possibly add to this, because right now there is a lot going on. I don't want to add too much, and I think I'm going to start framing out my shot just a little bit better, because right now everything's kind of centered. So I think I want my character to be like on that rule of thirds there. So I'm going to actually go over to my camera settings, composition guides, thirds. We should be able to see it. There we go. Now we can see our rule of thirds. It's so faint. Oh my God, it's so hard to see. All right, you can see it a little bit better here, but there is actually lines here to kind of show where our rule of thirds is. So I'm going to just try to line some things up here. Right now, everything is actually lined up pretty good. There we go. That looks good. So we're kind of level with the floor there. Our character is really close to a point right there, so that should be good. Let's go ahead and take a look at this angle. This angle's good. We could tilt our camera up more, but I think it's in a good spot. Maybe just a little bit. Again, I'm going to try to... Let's see what we can do here. I don't want to rotate it too much, but... This is kind of where you have to like really think about what you want this shot to look like. So I'm really going to think hard about where I want her to be placed. I also want this to be kind of like off to the side here a little bit more. That's starting to look pretty good. But we're also losing part of the scene, so let me back the camera up a little bit too. We'll do 50. We'll do a 50 mil, and you know what? We can probably scale some of these things out more. Cool. And this one we can bring on the Y more. And then these, we'll duplicate a couple of these. Just bring them like outside of our scene this way. Maybe bring this one over here. Rotate a little bit. Cool. All right. Again, this is just kind of... I knew I was going to have to do some of this stuff, but I didn't want it to be... I didn't want this scene to get to be too much. I'm trying to like move these pieces like how they make sense. At this point, like we're getting some more scale here. I'm going to bring the mountains higher. Now you notice there's a little gap here. I think I'm just going to cover these with, or cover this gap with a couple objects so you can't really see it. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Welcome to how people actually make art. They cover up all the little things that they don't want you to see. This is awesome. This is looking really, really sick. I'm also going to increase this array, and I'm going to make it go even further. All the way. Cool. Same with this one. Or wait, is that the wrong one? There we go. Cool. And I also noticed if you go to our side view, these don't quite line up at a certain point. These don't. Okay, there we go. So I just want to go to my top-down view, double check these. Yep, so the spacing's a little bit off. I'm just going to go ahead and bring those in a little bit. Oops, that's pretty much perfect. Awesome. And then with these ones, with this one, we'll do 8, 9, 10. And again, got to double check that spacing there. Awesome. This is looking fantastic. I have no idea like where my brain goes when I start creating this stuff, but it's cool because you can see that our character is like you can see her there, like you see her kind of headed in that general direction. And this is, I don't know, I'm really just excited about this. I think I want to go ahead and just add a few more cubes into the scene. Right now we have our cubes floating over these objects. I'm going to add a few more. Perfect. Give that some random rotation there. Cool. And we're missing some over here and here. And as usual, bring those down. Trying to record my process because I know that's what you guys want to see, so that is why I'm doing it. Perfect. All right, cool. So we have there's a lot going on in this scene. This scene has really just evolved over the time that we've been working on it. Nicely done. Again, rotate. Yeah, this looks so cool. All right. Oh, we're missing a few. Okay, so we'll put some over there. All right, I think we have one on almost every single one. Which one are we missing here? This one, which is that one. Okay, so it's that one right there. It's kind of hard to tell. This is why I like going into animation mode, because then you can easily see the perspective that you're working on. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have now. Let's take a quick second to just admire what we've created so far and see what kind of changes we really want to make with the scene. So this is an interesting scene. Now, there's something right away that's catching my eye, and it's right here. It looks like there's too many things going on right here, so I'm actually going to lower this, and I'm going to lower this as well. There we go. Okay, so that's going to fix that area. And then I'm noticing we're missing a cube back here, which one was that? This one right here is missing a cube. So let's go ahead and zoom in on that, and let's give this object a cube. And let's rotate it. Boom. Awesome. There's a lot of modifiers here, so I don't expect this to be a fast render. But again, let me just take a look. Let me take a step back. This thing has evolved so much. It's looking really fun and cool. So I'm wondering now, is there a way to add any more to this scene, or does it already have like everything that it needs? We have our mountain landscape background type thing up there. We have our character. And I think at this point our camera should be focused on our character. So under my depth of field, I'm going to target my woman right there. Our depth of field is already set to something like semi-realistic. So I think I might actually jump it up a little bit, because you really wouldn't have, like, if I wanted to, knowing me, this is what I would do. But you don't want to do that because it's unrealistic. Like, so hold on, let me do, like, even that is unrealistic too. But it does look cool. However, a more realistic f-stop would probably be like 3. So this is really what you would get with something like this. However, I love an intense depth of field look, but this is cool. We'll have to just kind of deal with this as we have it right now. So we have our character here. Most of the focal point is right there. I do think that our actual glow, in terms of like composition and stuff, I think this glow could probably be something more towards like green. So I might make these outer ones green, and these center ones, I might make them blue. So let's experiment with that value real quick, or that color. So I'm gonna do like a slight green on the outside. Where's my color here? Maybe like almost like a green, like a darker green. Yeah, like something like that. And then, yeah, I actually think that adds a lot. So let's select these right here. Oops. Again, I'm just selecting that like wireframe piece. There we go. And we're going to make it that nice solid green. Now, another thing that I think I might do, because now that I'm looking at this, I'm really thinking about it, is have these things pointed more upwards. So have this middle piece actually pointed more upwards here. So let's go ahead and just apply this array, and let's apply these as well. And then I'm going to just tab into edit mode, separate by loose parts, and I'm going to bring this up. do the same for this wireframe. And I'm just going to move this piece up. And then I'm going to scale this up a lot. Bring this up. And let's go ahead and see what that looks like. All right, it's a little bit too high. I think I might scale it back down. Perfect. So what I wanted to do is kind of just, again, more than I could emphasize what is like actually happening in the scene. Let's see if we can move the mountains up too. Again, we don't want to move the mountains too high up because you can begin to see like the bottoms of them. But I'm trying to emphasize the scale here. I also kind of think it's cool that the mountains kind of go with what we have here already. You know what I'm going to do there real quick, because I think this might help a little bit, is go ahead and take one of our mountains, bring it right here. Whoops. Bring it down. Rotate it a little bit like that. And then just kind of scale it a little bit. Bring it like right there. Again, I'm trying to just... I know this looks crazy, but this is kind of how I wanted to set the scene up. Scale it down on the Z, bring it up, and just bring this down a little bit. As you can see, it's cutting into our scene a little bit, but just want to see how this is going to look real quick. I think I like that a little bit better. Yeah, okay, so cool. So we have our main blue parts in the middle. We have our green on the sides. We have some really interesting materials. Again, shout out to Ducky 3D for helping me just easily create a scene like this. Like, this is awesome. Another thing I'm going to do, and I know I said I was done, but I'm never done, is select all of our, we'll select one of these objects here, which is our like little pillars that are outside here. And I'm just going to give them a bevel modifier. And I'm going to give them like an intense bevel, probably. Yeah, something like that. Let me just see what that looks like in rendered view. Cool. I like that. See what happens if we bevel that even more. Whoa, that's kind of interesting. Whoa, I kind of like how it's like a pointed crystal there. What do you guys think? All right, let's just see how that looks on all of them. Let's go ahead and select objects and then shift click this last one here. Control L and then do copy modifiers. Oops. Okay. So what happened there was all of these little guys were also selected too. So our like wireframe shapes, we don't want those to be selected. So let me find those real quick. That is all of these ones right here. So I'm going to go ahead and move those into a new collection called wireframes. Cool. And let's just hide those for a second. It looks like we caught a couple of the other ones, which are these ones here. And we're going to go ahead and move those back into random and then go to our random collection. I hope you guys are following. You don't really have to follow this part, but I'm trying to just get all these to have the correct modifiers. Perfect. Now they all have that one modifier. Missed this one right here, but that's okay. I just want to see what this is going to look like now. Huh. Wow, that really changed everything. I don't know if I love it, but again, this is like, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. This one, scale that up. The Z, cool. All right, I'm getting to that point where I think I want to start like finalizing this thing and making it look like how I want to render it. This is going to be a really, really big image too. I can already tell. The background here, this doesn't look like super realistic, so I think I might just turn my depth of field up a little bit. Or sorry, down rather. Maybe down to like 0.1. Oh god, that's too much. We'll do 0.3. Okay, that looks fine. Cool. Again, we can completely mess with the lighting here. Right now, the world is this like mountain landscape type of thing, but we could easily completely swap it with something you would never expect. Again, look at how the environment completely changes when you do that. Or if you do like a regular sunny day, completely changes. If you do a nighttime scene, completely changes. This is another nighttime scene. That's kind of cool because you have like the stars in the background. But look at how that lighting like drastically changes. Whoa, that's kind of interesting there. It's insane what happens when you just look at this lighting compared to what we had before. I mean, I don't love it, but I'm just trying to show you guys what you can accomplish here. This is kind of interesting because you're getting these harsh shadows coming in from behind. But again, don't love that. This is like a sunset scene. Oh boy, that was an 8K texture. Okay, be careful with your textures here. All right, we're not going to do that one. And then, of course, if we change back to our original one, we can also adjust the lighting here. I prefer, like, I like when it's a little bit darker, especially with a scene like this. See, that's cool too, because see how they have the mountain in the background there? Kind of adds to our, like, what we're trying to achieve here. Something like that might be perfect. Cool. And then also, guys, don't forget you can adjust your exposure and your color management here. And your contrast. That's like medium, high contrast. Another thing I probably am going to do is go over to the compositing tab, click on use nodes. And I am going to add in a glare node and a viewer node like this. And then for the glare type, I'll do fall glow. All right, let's actually render this real quick. So layout, light paths, we'll do 30 for everything. Total 30 as well. And then we'll do max samples, we'll do like, I don't know, 500. And then denoising, we'll do optics. And let's go ahead and click on F12 and see what this thing looks like. Knowing my luck, we'll have some hidden objects that are going to be rendered, but so far it looks good. Oh, it's only going to take 15 seconds. That's pretty good. Let's see how this comes out. Again, there's a lot going on here, guys, so thank you for your patience, but I just wanted to kind of go through the process. Oh, whoa. All right, so that's a lot of glow. We're going to definitely be reducing that glow because you can't even barely see. So why the heck is she in T-pose? Does anybody want to explain that to me? All right, we'll have to look into that, but as of right now, like, I'm pretty happy with everything we've done. The glow, see how we have this like outer glow? That's that glare node kind of kicking in right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lower that value. Or I'm going to do high instead. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's much better. Cool. All right, so why in the world is she in T-pose? Not sure what's going on with her. Thanks a lot, lady. Thanks a lot. Look at this. Unbelievable. So, yeah, I don't know why she is doing this. She was fine before. What happened to her? Man, I wish I was better at rigging. I must have done something incorrectly here. I feel like oh, was it when I put her... Oh, hold on. I might have put her in the wrong collection. She might be missing a part of her. Let's see. That's her body, yep. And then if you go to armature... I mean, the armature itself is posed. Yeah, it looks fine to me. Okay, I don't know what happened here. But anyway, guys, I'm going to, for now, wrap up the tutorial because I'm exhausted from working on this for so long. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you kind of got some value out of it. It's just like kind of like a fun thing to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it for like that level design type of like environment. Again, we have like our main character here who isn't posed correctly, but we do have our like array of different structures here. And we have like kind of just a fun environment that we've created with these mountain landscapes, an environment texture, and some like basic glow settings here. So yeah, I don't know why the character is in the T-pose. She's not supposed to be in the T-pose, so I don't know why she's doing that, but I'll have to look into that rigging issue later. But yeah, as of now, pretty excited with what we have. Again, I'm probably going to render out like a super high-res image of this and maybe cut different parts of it out just for like an example of some fun work that I did. This was a lot of fun, but yeah, it can get a little bit complex over... Sorry guys, my connection keeps cutting in and out, but it can get a little bit complex over time. Although I am excited with the results that we have so far. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial slash walkthrough and like process video. If you guys like stuff like this, I'll definitely put out more videos like this. It's just sometimes I can get carried away and it can take hours and hours to create this kind of stuff. So I do hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.